Hello, and welcome to Tales After Dark. This is a podcast that will be filled with scary stories and diving deep into the world's most treacherous cult crimes. Many of the paranormal and let's not meet scary stories heard here are from articles I have found on Reddit. Author information and usernames will always be included in the show notes below each episode. To submit a terrifying tale of your own, please email stories.talesafterdark@gmail.com and make sure to follow /TAD podcast on Reddit for Tales After Dark fan subreddit information. This show is brought to you by the MW Network and produced by me, your host, Emma Dawn. Do you have a podcast or show idea of your own? For more information on the MW Network, visit themummywines.com. Tales After Dark is made possible by our sponsors, the Home Bookkeeper Masterclass. Looking to create a life of balance and financial freedom? Check out how I was able to ditch the 9-to-5 grind and spend more time creating and doing the things I love by becoming a home bookkeeper. More information on the Home Bookkeeper Masterclass can be found on my company website, edjconsultinggroup.com, under Resources. Zaya Active. What's better than curling up in a nice pair of leggings and your Tales After Dark merch sweatshirt and listening to a spooky tale? In my completely biased opinion, not much. Visit myzaya.com/EmmaDawn for premium and affordable men and women's active and loungewear, and make sure to check out the Tales After Dark merch store on teespring.com. If you are a brand and would like to sponsor the Tales After Dark podcast, please get in touch at stories.talesafterdark@gmail.com. Now let's get into today's episode. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another scary story here on Tales After Dark. Today I am going to be reading a paranormal story. These are typically experiences or just articles of people posting their personal experience. So I love these ones. I love going through the Reddit, the paranormal Reddit, and just reading these stories. And I love this podcast because I do typically read them out loud, just because I think it's a little scarier when I read them out loud instead of just reading them to myself. So that's what I'm basically doing here on this podcast. It's just reading stories that I would normally read that are spooky, paranormal experiences, or the no sleep, or let's not meet. I had a few let's not meet scary stories go up recently. So if you want to go back and look at the last couple episodes and let me know what you think, I would love to hear it, because the let's not meet, they're not typically like author stories, or they're more like experiences, but they're not paranormal either. They're basically just people being super creepy. So if you want to hear more let's not meet scary stories, let me know. I will have a link below where you can actually leave me a voice memo, and I can put those voice memos in the beginning of future episodes. So I love hearing from you guys outside of the ratings and review, which obviously go do that. Leave a rating and review of the show. It helps me out a ton. You guys are loving this podcast, but leaving ratings and reviews helps get it out there in front of more people. So definitely do that. And if you want to tell me what you think of Let's Not Meet, definitely leave me a voice memo and you might find it in a future episode. So let's go ahead and get into this episode's story. This is a paranormal experience, and the title of this is I Ran an Estate Sale in an Old Bungalow. There was something in that house. The link to this story and my Reddit profile will obviously all be linked in the description box below. So let's go ahead and get into it. A few years ago, I worked for a company that conducted estate sales. Super fun job. You can get so much good shit at an estate sale, just FYI. Anyways, someone contacted the company about a potential sale at a family home. It ended up being too small for the company, so they suggested I could do it for them on my own time. Can't remember my fee, but it was pretty easy work. I met the family at the house. It was a 1920s bungalow in St. Paul, Minnesota. It had been in the family since it was built. I fell in love with it. It was completely untouched and has so much potential. The family was very nice. The house had belonged to their aunt, who was basically the neighborhood witch. She was reclusive and angry, and the neighbors, they weren't fans. She had died. I don't know if it was in the house or not, and the family was settling the estate. I started organizing and pricing items alone in the house. The second floor had already been cleared, so I was only working on the main floor. I started hearing footsteps immediately above me when I was in the dining room. I went upstairs. Above the dining room was a large bedroom, painted bright pink. The rest of the upstairs was a half bath, a large attic space, a small attic space accessed through a small door on the landing. Nothing was out of the ordinary. I brushed it off. I blamed the wind. Then I realized that it was completely still outside. My sister came over to see the house. We were in the dining room when they started above us. Footsteps. I looked at her and shrugged. I knew it wasn't my imagination. The sale started. Even though the second floor was empty, the house was on the market so people could look around. People started coming down, coming up to me and saying things like, "Wow, that pink bedroom is creepy," or "Something is definitely going on in that bedroom." I was a little freaked out, but I stayed calm. Then, an elderly Native American man came to the sale. When he came downstairs, he motioned to me to come over. He said, "Do you know that there is something in the pink room?" I said that I had heard things, but I thought it was probably a good spirit. I was being hopeful. And he just shook his head while making direct eye contact and left. At the end of the sale, when I was packing up, I heard a crash upstairs. The door to the small crawl space had blown out and had landed about 2 feet across the landing. House sold immediately. So I know that was a shorter one, but I love these personal experience stories. If you want to hear more, definitely let me know with a voice memo, and make sure to leave a rating and review. Until next time, stay spooky.